and let me just say hello. And thanks for coming. This is like my 5th time, right? How many, show of hands, how many people have been here before? To this panel, yeah. I know you have. We love you. So just to lay down a couple rules, just so everyone's kind of taken care of. So please let's limit it to 1 question per person. Please don't ask me to call you a friend or anybody. Please don't hand me your phone. I just don't want your phone. Because nothing halts a panel like waiting for someone else to pick up. So, also, just as a rule, please don't ask me my favorite anything. It's the hardest question in the world to answer. So I'm like, I don't know what my favorite is gone. So I don't ever have an answer and I always cheese out. No creepy questions. You know who you are. And no autographs or pictures. That's a different thing for a different time. So this is just questions, conversation, and lovely times. Yes? So start us off, my love.
Hi, again. So I had a question regarding like voice acting in general. When you first started out, did you have stage fright or any of that? Or just like any time you were out in public? And if you did,
Totally not opening a Diet Coke back here. I was like totally scared about it. I'm like, no one's gonna know.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if you had that, and then if you did, then how did you get over it?
So stage fright is a fascinating concept. So I just want to take a quick survey. How many of you here in this room would love to be an actor? Like it's your dream. You've been to plays. You've seen stuff like it's awesome. That's some of you are lying.
I'm too scared.
I know. Well, the thing is, it's scary. It's so scary. I did my first stage play when I was 9 years old. And because I was 9, everyone's like, oh, I sucked. But because I was 9 years old, I didn't really have an idea of, like, no one had told me, oh, you're going to be so nervous. And because no one told me that, I didn't think, I just didn't even think about it. And I go out on stage and I realize, oh my God, there's a bunch of people watching me. Holy crap. So stage fright has never been in front of a large group of people. I'm weirdly comfortable. Like I don't know, something about just like with you right now, I feel no nervousness whatsoever because I trust all of you. It's probably not the smartest thing I should do, but I do. And so it's weird when you're in front of a large group of people. Some people get really freaked out. And my tool for that, when I encounter it, I do get stage fright when I am in front of just a limited number of people. When you're voice acting, you typically are in front of about 2 or 3 people at most. There's a director and engineer. Sometimes they're the same person, so it's one person. And that intimacy sometimes makes it more intense because that person is judging their intention, like everything is on you, and you're like, so the spotlight's on you. When there's a bunch of people watching me, I feel differently. I feel like, well, someone out there must like me. I feel like the more people around, the higher the average, that's going to be. Well, someone must like me, so I'm just going to focus on that person, even if they're imaginary, and get through this by focusing on that. But if it's just the one person, director, engineer watching you, you're like, oh crap. The best piece of advice anyone ever gave me when I started voice acting, the very first thing, and mind you, I had years of stage experience and done a little bit of film here and there since I was a kid, and here I was, 28 years old, doing my first time on mic, which was weird kind of acting. If you've never done it before, it's so limiting. And compared to being on stage, when you have other people you're acting off of in real time, like how many of you came to the thing last night and watched us do our thing, right? Well, you notice we're acting off of each other, and it's a little artificial because we have to stop and go back and you change the lights and stuff, so we don't get to do whole plays in front of you. But we are working off of each other and getting to kind of play ping pong, as it were, with our lines and with the energy is really helpful. If you're in costume, that helps too, and you have the energy of a live audience if you're doing stage, that can help your performance too. But when you're doing voice acting, it's just you in a tiny little room that's about the size of a phone booth and a mic, and you don't really have your body because you're not free to use it as much as you might like because you can't this is my zipper jingles because I'm moving too much, it'll pick up on mic and spoil the take. So you have to kind of be relatively planted, and so it's weird. It's like learning to you can't just use your voice because everything has to come through, but you have to use your voice in a way that gives the audience an impression of what your body should be doing. Like if your character's running, you can't actually be doing this in the booth because it sounds like shit. But you do have to, make it sound like you're doing this And that can get you hyper. It's a whole other world having to create this imaginary space with absolutely no help at all from any of your surroundings. And it can be nerve-wracking, and I was really, really nervous, and I think I realized, first of all, if you ever go into an audition and you're nervous, don't feel bad about being nervous, because we all feel that way. It's a very natural human emotion, and there's some instinct inside of us that goes, oh my God, I'm so nervous. They're gonna see that I'm nervous, and they're gonna go, wait a minute, you're nervous. You're not an actor. You know, that doesn't ever happen. They see that you're nervous, and they work with you. Sometimes the director and the engineer and the producers are just as nervous because they're like, well, we don't know how this is gonna go. We don't know how Michael Tatum's gonna be. What if he's a total asshole? So they're a little nervous, you know, and so everyone's kind of got that energy. And if you waste time and energy trying to pretend that you're not nervous, you've got nothing left for the performance. So the best piece of advice anyone ever gave me is just, cool, be nervous. Just be nervous, own it, and do it anyway. Let the character be nervous. Like, stop trying to deny that feeling. I've learned from years of doing this that the most important advice anyone can give you when you're about to do a scene or audition or whatever, there is absolutely no wrong way to enter a scene. However you are feeling when you get on mic, walk out on stage, or in camera, that's the scene. That's where your character's coming from, like it or not, and you can work with it. You just learn how to just own it and just kind of walk into the breakdown, walk into the discomfort, and just be like, all right, here we go. I recently learned how to scuba dive, which is really cool. I never would have in a million years imagined myself doing such a crazy thing. But my partner Brandon has been scuba diving for years. His father was a deep sea welder, and so it's just kind of in his blood. And I'm like, I've never snorkeled, yay! And we went out to Grand Cayman and to like Cozumel on a trip, and like the big dive sites to go see it. And he was like, here we go, we're gonna go do this thing. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna dive. We're gonna dive, not die. We might die. We're gonna dive. And I was terribly nervous, and my brain was just going 90 miles an hour, going, I cannot do this. I've got to find a way out. I'm gonna be like, baby, I'm suddenly very sick and I can't do this. But another part of me was going, just do it. See what happens. Be afraid and do it anyway. Anyone here watch Doctor Who, like the old stuff? There was one. You're like, glad you're having an experience over there. There's an old, the third Doctor, Pertwee, had a great line, and it really struck me as a kid. At some point, he's telling another character who did something very heroic, but who didn't feel very heroic while he was doing it. And he's kind of down on himself. He's like, I was so afraid. I'm not courageous at all. I was afraid the whole time. And he says the most beautiful thing in the world, I think. He says, oh, courage has nothing to do with not being afraid. It has to do with being afraid and doing it anyway. And that's the biggest thing. Don't ever be down on yourself for feeling afraid. You can't help it if you feel afraid. It's a natural human reaction. It doesn't make you less of a person or less of an actor or less of anything if you're afraid. The difference between feeling, afraid and not afraid has nothing to do with you. You have no control over that. Just walk into the fear. Be afraid and do it anyway. And you'll have experiences you wouldn't have had otherwise. When I took that plunge off the boat into the Pacific Ocean, thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna walk into the breakdown. And I was suddenly underwater, and I was afraid and awed at the same time. And I had this beautiful experience, and now I'm crazy about diving. But I just had to get over that initial, we're always trying to protect ourselves, and we're always trying to protect, sometimes we're right to protect ourselves. But most of the time, in my experience, what we're trying to protect ourselves most is other people's perceptions of how we are. And that, it doesn't matter. What other people think about you is none of your concern, and it's not in your control. So if you walk into that audition or that stage performance and you feel really nervous, and you're nervous about being nervous, it's just gonna compound, because you're having this conversation in your head, like, oh my God, they're gonna see me sweat, they're gonna see me sweat. Let them, who cares? That's part of the performance, It's their job to tell themselves the story based on the performance you're giving. It's not your job to control how they feel about it. So be afraid, do it anyway,
Okay, at least you didn't shoot straight up after scuba diving, though. I would have known that.
No, that kills you.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you have to learn in scuba diving is don't accept quickly. So thank you. You might notice I ramble.
A little.
Thank you for being patient. Hi.
Hi.
How are you? That's the spirit. Walk into the breakdown. It's fine. Just walk into the breakdown. Walk into the mat.
All right, so my question is, I've noticed that Kyoya-senpai and Sebastian Kalis have similar attitudes and mannerisms.
Weird.
Yeah. Now, was it for you? Was it weird and hard to separate the two? And if you put the two in the same room, do you think they would get along or be frenemies?
It's complicated. I think if you put them in the same room, I think they would eventually grow. Whatever happened, I think they would come out friends. Whether they went in as friends or not, that's a whole other story. I do think there'd be a lot of back and forth on the contract. Because Kelly would be like, oh, I noticed the subclause here. I'm not comfortable with that. Can we change that? Because you're really screwing me on the back end there. And Sebastian would be like, well, all right, let's rewrite that. We'd go back and forth an entire episode on just the contract itself. So in terms of separating them, like they are about 10 years apart about 6 years apart in my career. So Kyoya was much earlier and in a different place, and then Sebastian came later on. They're both me in a way. I mean, every character you play is always going to be you. It's just you in kind of a different under different lighting, with a different lens. So they're all my characters to me are part of me. So I could put France and Kyoya in the same room and go, oh yeah, actually Kyoya and France are really similar. And that sounds totally insane, but it's totally true. But yeah, I think they'd be friends, don't you?
I somewhat agree, yes.
There'd certainly be respect. Someone drew me a picture of them. It's a really lovely picture. I hope they're here. Of them, like, as a couple, and I'm like, oh, I just found my OTP. Because that's a power couple, let's face it.
Yes, that would be a power couple.
Thank you, love. Thank you, love.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Right, who's next? Hi.
I have a compliment and a question, if that's okay.
I will take both.
I was telling another voice actor panel, I have an 11-year-old son who is autistic, and he doesn't emote or show emotion very well.
Yeah.
And recently found Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and
He
now
has great taste.
we now have Full Metal Fridays in the house, and whenever he loves Scar. He tries to do the whole face explode thing on the cat when he's mad at it. Doesn't work that way. He emotes when he sees Full Metal Alchemist.
You're gonna make me emote. Stop it.
I'm trying not to harass you.
Don't go there. 10 minutes into this panel and it's already like 2020.
Gets worried for Scar, and he cheers the good guys and boos the bad guys. And it's just,
that's so awesome.
thank you so much for
thank you.
taking part of that. He got Vic a little Star Trek thing, and he told me, Mommy, I don't know what Mr. Tatum likes. So he gave me some of his allowance money, and I kicked in the rest, and I went to Artist Alley and got you Doctor Who. It's a 3
Oh my God,
that's
man!
It goes together.
Oh my God, thank you. That's the best thing ever.
So I told him he likes Doctor Who, so I'll put him something Doctor Who.
What's his name?
Tyler.
Tyler! I love you, Tyler!
He can't do the crowds and noise here.
That's
He's not
okay.
here. He's
I'm
in
just
LA.
saying, everyone just help me and say, I love you, Tyler! I love you, Tyler! Thank you. This is so cool. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Can I just hide behind this for the next couple of minutes while I cry?
Only if I can hide behind this.
What's your question?
Well, I'm a high school teacher. I teach music and theater.
Oh my God, you're so awesome. See, this is what I love about cons. Like, I'm an actor. On my best day, I get to play someone like you. And that's as good as it gets for me.
When you get the sides of a character, obviously the physical part of the character determines what type of voice you use. But I was wondering how much of it, like their backstory, determines what type of voice you would use for that character.
You'd be surprised how little backstory matters. And I say it to an actor, to the person playing it, because as a human being, your own backstory doesn't matter. You don't think of your backstory. It's so unconscious. I mean, there are maybe certain things you intend to do because of this thing, but that's all in the script. The process when you're auditioning for a character, particularly when it's something like dubbing or anime, when it's just so fast, you go in and you get like this very basic rundown, and the idea is to just kind of parse it down to the most fundamental human emotions of like, this is a character, he's out for, like if I had trying out for Scar, which of course I knew the character because of the original franchise, but had the audition signs for him might have just been a handful of lines, and him saying, and the reads or the directions might have been Scar is gruff, he has a chip on his shoulder, he's very much, out for revenge because his family was blah, 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 no spoilers. And that would have been the basic, and you wouldn't have gotten much more detail because there just isn't time to absorb that. And as long as you know like the broad strokes, you can walk into that and give it anything that, it's the idea of an audition side is to kind of be simple and parsed down so that it kind of leaves room for the actor to just kind of, you read that and go, well, it's like a Rorschach test. You know, like, it's like, look at this, what do you see? And then the director wants to know, what is your first impression? From that limited, information, what's your first instinct? And so you'll go in and be like, well, I hear a chip on his shoulder, so I'm gonna make him kind of low and not talk about it because he doesn't care if people hear him, and that might be a choice the director doesn't like, and he'll be like, cool, can you raise the volume a little bit? And you work on it in the audition process. But I find that as an actor, the less information you are given, the more real it is, because you as a person, if Scar's a real person, doesn't know what's gonna happen next, doesn't always know, or is not always thinking about every single piece of his history in a particular scene. So you just kind of let it kind of be its own thing. Something else I've learned, and this is another long-winded answer because I love talking about acting, but I had to learn to myself, I'm not the one telling the story. The actor is not the one telling the story. The audience is the one telling itself the story based on what it sees. And everyone's going to tell themselves that story based on their own needs, their own experiences, their own take, unconsciously or otherwise. My job, any actor's job, is to just exist fully, be present in the moment, whatever the moment is, and to just be that. Because if you're an actor and you think too much about, what do I want the audience to tell itself? It doesn't seem real. We can all see bad acting from a mile away because you can see the actor in their own head trying to control it too much, trying to think, well, then I'm going to do this. You can see them thinking about the next line they're going to say. And something like, it's a great example, working with Sheremy yesterday, like Sheremy is amazing. You can never see her thinking about the next line. Everything just arises out of this relationship that we know because we've read the script and we have an idea, oh, these two people hate each other because they're rivals. And that's all we need to know to just, those tiny little parsed down words can evoke so much that we bring something into it that we end up responding to off of each other. And the same thing can happen in a voice acting setting because you're often recording off of people that have already laid down track, or you're working with the beautiful animation, which is already kind of infusing something into the performance because you can't help but be moved by what you're watching and hearing. All of those things. And the director will be like, cool, that's great. Now let it be true that Scar likes puppies. And that, so that might completely just out of nowhere, you're suddenly hit with, well, I didn't think about that, but why can't we use that? So all of that is to say, like, I like going in with as little information as possible to an audition, because I also learned very early on that the more I know, the less I'm able to perform. Kyoya is a great example. I auditioned for Kyoya and I worked on the show a little bit as a time coder for Monica, who was writing the adaptations, and I loved it. I was like, oh my God, this show, and I loved Kyoya, and I wanted it too bad because I knew him and I knew what I thought he should be, and I was trying to control it too much, and because of it, it was like blah, blah, blah. It's like trying to say I love you for the first time to someone, and you have this whole monologue in your head, like, I love you, and your eyes, I can dance in your blood, your heart is mine, and how do I love thee, let me count the ways, but then what comes out is, that's so, part of an actor's job is to just let go, and let whatever's there be what you're working with in real time, rather than try to map it out, because when you map it out, it has this kind of alienating effect. The audience can see you thinking about the next line, and it takes them out of it. Does that make sense? Yes. Awesome. Basically, I'm a very lazy person, so I don't like to do any homework. Thank you. I don't. One day I'm going to bring him to a panel. Thank you so much again, Tyler. Thank you. Hi.
Sorry. Sorry. So I heard and saw that you got a role in Ruby.
In what?
Ruby.
In Ruby. Yeah, I played Klein in
Yeah.
Ruby, the butler.
Yeah.
Typecasting.
So what is it like playing a character in Ruby, and how is it with working with everyone down at Rooster Teeth?
Man, Rooster Teeth are some of the coolest people I've ever worked with, and I say that like genuinely because I go in and I have to record remotely. So Rooster Teeth is located in Austin, and I am in Dallas, and Austin's about 4.5 hours away. And so I seldom have time. And for someone like Klein, he doesn't have a lot of lines. He just has a scene here and there. So they're not going to ask me, hey, can you drive 4 hours for 10 minutes of work? So they usually patch me in. I'll go to a local studio and stuff. So I haven't met any of them in person. I've only met them through my headphones because they'll Skype in. And my God, we had so much fun. Because they'll read the lines for you, and so you can kind of play off of them. And I noticed this. So I've been doing this for a long time, and when you're the first person to lay down track, frequently the director or the engineer or whoever, sometimes it's the writer themselves, if it's a commercial or whatever, will be there. And if they want you to respond to something that hasn't been recorded yet, they'll read it for you. Kind of like we were doing yesterday in the film where we had one of the actors in the wings reading the lines we were supposed to be responding to. And there's nothing more gratifying to an actor than to do that and to have the experience when you realize the reader, who's usually not an actor, they're just there to kind of be your placeholder, they start getting into it. Like they'll be like, so hi, how are you today? And you'll be like, hello, I'm well, thank you, and whatever, you go off into this tangent, and they suddenly kind of get a little more, oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Then suddenly they start, they get kind of swept up into the reality of this little scene. I had a lot of that with the people at Rooster Teeth, so it was really, really fun. And I loved playing Klein because he's got the whole Seven Dwarfs things going on, so he gets to do all these little different voices, which is really a lot of fun.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Hello.
Hi. So I know you got asked this question at another panel. I never got to hear the answer. So what would Sebastian be like if he was drunk? And can you give an example of a conversation he'd had with someone?
See, everybody's British, and British people, when they're drunk, you can seldom tell. Because there's different kinds of drunk. And when Americans get drunk, we tend to be like, yeah, woo, table flip, or we're crying in a corner or something. We're very emotional people. The Brits just tend to be like, hello, how are you? And this is a totally sober Brit. Hello, how are you? Nice day. A slightly drunk Brit. Hello, how are you? Nice day. And a really drunk Brit. Hello, how are you? Nice day. That's it, and that's I learned that there's an American drunk, you just see them kind of barrel rolling from a point to B, right? Whereas a British, an upper crust, very terribly well-bred Brit will drink a gin and tonic and sort of desperately try to keep it together so that no one has any idea that they're 3 sheets to the wind. But then you watch them carefully, and they're kind of tilted forward a little bit as they walk, and the whole world is like an invisible flight of stairs that only they can see. And so I think, I think they would get catty. So I think Sebastian would just be like, tie your own shoes, you little brat. You're old enough now. Good night. Thank you. You guys are so kind. Thank you. Hello.
So I wanted to know, what has been your most impactful or significant moment for you as a voice actor or actor that you will always remember?
There are a lot of them, but the one that I always come back to when I'm asked this question or something similar is Steins Gate. I love when I get that reaction. I say Steins Gate, it's like a trigger. People are like, so let me, another kind of long rambling answer. Are you familiar with Steins Gate at all?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll kind of know. And for those of you that aren't, I'll try to not speak in spoilers. It's a hard thing to talk about and not you're like, oh, and then this happens, and then this person dies, and then, oh, crap. So I'll try to not give anything away, but except to say, plug. Those of you who haven't seen Steins Gate, I'd say without hesitation that it's probably one of the finest series I've ever gotten to work on. It's just perfect. There's nothing about it I would change. Nothing at all. And I was given the opportunity to work on it as a lead writer, along with Patrick Seitz, who I love to death and who's a sublime writer. We work together really well because I feel like we share a brain, 75% of which is his. And the show itself just spoke to me, and I loved Okabe, the main character. I'm like, oh, I understand this guy. I get him. This is totally me at that age, without all the smarts. But that's totally me. And I just got it. And when I got the chance to actually play him, which I didn't know I would be given, I thought, oh, surely not. I'm writing it. You're not going to put me in the lead role as well. That's a nightmare scenario because then you lose your writer and your main actor if something goes wrong. And it's also, I don't like to do it because it's really, it's a lot of pressure on you if you're the lead in a show that you're also the lead adaptive writer on, because then you've got no one to blame but yourself if a line isn't working. You're like, who wrote this? Oh, damn it. So it's kind of, it was really, really stressful, but the show itself was so good that I was glad to do it and really had this intense experience. But because of the turnaround time, we were writing scripts and recording at the same time. There was a lot of overlap. Patrick and I worked on the first 3 or 4 scripts together. Those were compiled into audition sides, and then once they started recording, and they cast us, and they started recording, and then the rest of the show got written kind of stair-stepped. Just from we were only ever about 3 episodes ahead of what was being recorded in the booth, and because Okabe is a very chatty character, imagine me playing him, right? My day for about it felt like a year, but it was probably really only about 4 or 5 months, where I would go in for, on average, an 8-hour day in the booth. And 8 hours is a long time to record. It's hell on the voice, even if it's just your normal speaking tone. And it was really emotionally intense, but it was like, it might be 4 hours here, 3 hours here, but it was generally 8 hours a day. Then I have to come home and work on a script for a later episode for another 2, 3, 4 hours, and then just get up and repeat the whole cycle. So for the first time in my career, and really the only time, hopefully the only time I will ever have to do this, I was so immersed in this one show that I didn't have time for anything else. In my personal life either. Like, I didn't have time to go out and have fun with my friends. I didn't have time to be me. I just sort of became Okabe. And it worked beautifully because I was always ready to go, hit the ground running when we went into record. I was never, ever, ever, I never had to find the voice or never had to listen to a reference. I was like, yeah, let's just go because I'm already here, which was great. But there's a scene about halfway through, and everyone who's seen it knows what I'm talking about. It's the scene when he's in the backseat of the car, and everyone's like, oh. And it's an intense emotional scene. It's probably just the original Japanese is probably one of the most genuinely emotional and just devastating moments I've ever seen. It's very quiet. It's very real. There's not a lot of explosions, not a lot of spectacle going on. It's just this very real moment where this character Okabe, who, for the most part of the show, part of his charm is that he's an arrogant jerk. He's loving, and he really deep down you can see that he loves everybody. But he's one of those sort of misfits that never quite found their place and has never quite found his context or feels very at home in the world or around people. So he kind of masks that with this very arrogant attitude and is always like blah 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 blah. But deep down the audience can see that he's just a scared kid. That doesn't really know who he is, and he's trying desperately. Well, as things get realer and realer and realer as the show progresses, that coping mechanism of being the arrogant sort of mad scientist type doesn't work anymore, and he knows it. And so we see him for the first time in that scene, I think, is the first time we see him just cut down to size, when he is literally going, I am nothing, please just don't do this horrible thing, I know this is about to happen. It's all about time travel, so he knows something's gonna happen that he can't stop, but he can't help but want to stop it, and he knows it's sort of, just pushing a boulder up a hill, and he is just so unraveled in that scene, and just watching it and having to adapt to the writing in that scene killed me, because I'm trying to cry and act it out at homes, because as I act things out as I write them. And then a few weeks later, having to go and record that very scene, I just had this breakdown where it's I believe it's episode 13 or 14. Forgive me for not knowing exactly when, because for me the whole thing is one big story, so I never know what episode is what. But it's the scene in the backseat of the car when he is just pleading, basically at peril, great peril to his own life. He's pleading for the life of a friend, and it's so desperate. It's one of the best things I've ever seen animated. It's one of the best. It's just such a real moment that just completely kills you every time you watch. I can't watch the scene. But when we were doing it, I had an honest-to-God breakdown and just started crying and was trying to get through the lines. And what I was saying earlier about just being in the moment and letting yourself be swept up was a great example of just I'm going to do this anyway because I'm already here, why not? And there was no wrong way to be in that scene because I was like, ah! and I had to stop, and I balled myself up in the corner for a second because I was kind of hyperventilating. And Colleen Klinkenbeard, the show's director, was wonderful, was like, she knows me very well, so she's like, honey, and I'm like, I'm just ugly crying. So she's like, let's take a break. You need to go and splash some water in your face, walk around the building, whatever. We need to schedule this for another day. We'll do it. I'm like, no, it's fine. We're fine. So I'm walking through, and everyone sees me and thinks that Colleen has just been beating me. What is she doing to you? And they're like, it's fine. I deserve it. And I'm walking through, and about 15, 20 minutes later, I feel like, okay, let's go again. And I walk in, and Colleen turns around in her swivel chair and goes, I have some excellent news and a choice to make. She's like, the good news is everything you did worked. So if you want to do it again, you're all for it. I'm all for it, we can do it. But we have what will work, and I think it's beautiful. If you don't mind everyone in the world knowing what you actually sound like when you're having a mental breakdown. And I think I just looked at her and there was this beat, and I was like, do it, I don't want to do it again. So, it's since now become a shameless plug for Steins Gate. Like, if you want to hear J. Michael Tatum have a genuine breakdown, episode 14 of Steins Gate is your baby. And that remains like the most profound experience. And I've had some really amazing times in the booth, but I walked away from that feeling like a changed person. Like, I realized, like, I have something has happened to me. I'm not the person I was when I walked into this booth this morning. And that's of course why I love acting. You know, that's acting for me, is getting to kind of, you know, put yourself in someone else's shoes and realizing, like an episode of Scooby-Doo, it was me all along. And you know, it's fun. That's the great thing about it. So thank you for giving me a chance to talk about Steins Gate. Yay! I'm doing my time. Is anyone keeping track of the time? 12:49. Thank you. Wow, there's some disagreement. I like it being 12:45 better. Hi.
Hi. This is my second time being at one of your panels, and I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but there might be like a funny story to go with it that I don't know. So do you ever just like pretend to be Sebastian, even like out of character, maybe when you're at home alone, or?
At home alone, in public.
Yes.
In drive-thrus. All the time. Because there is something about the British voice that just, whew. I mean, look at me. Like I'm okay looking, right? And I'm like a 6. Maybe a 5.
Don't put yourself
No, I'm not fishing for compliments. I'm trying to make a point. Like in the real world, I'm like a 5 in like low light and loose clothes. But when I start speaking like this, 9. Something just happens. It's like putting on the ring. You're like, whoosh, and I'm invisible. And the voice. So the reason I'm very comfortable in a British accent, you may notice. And I'm very comfortable in different sorts. I mean, you can't go 5 feet in Britain without running into a different dialect, and I love them all. I think they're hysterical. Not hysterical, that's terribly disrespectful. I think they're fun to do. Like, they're hysterical, like, you talk funny. So I had a speech impediment when I was very young, and it was really, really bad. So I had an occupational therapist who was British, no kidding, who was my speech therapist as well. And so I sort of learned to speak in, proper received, she was very received pronunciation, very much the Ravens, painful, failing plains sort of woman. And so I just kind of grew up learning how to talk in that accent, thought it was great. Everyone else in my family is very, very Texan, where everyone's kind of like, my dad's got that sort of down-home rancher, hey, what you doing there? You in that anime again? My mother's got this sweet little Texas housewife where she's just like, I thought you were wonderful. I have such a hard time recognizing your voice. My brother has he married into a family of Bostonians, and so he has this weird crossover accent that I can't even do, but it's like, hey, how y'all doing? And I'm like, but I just kind of have this neutral accent, more like a newscaster or something, because I learned how to, today the weather is shitty. So I keep dropping these little curse words everywhere. Merry Christmas. What were we talking about? Yes. So the British voice I love doing, and the Sebastian voice is kind of my default British, because that's what everyone's like, oh my God, just say my name in that voice, and you can do it. They're like, oh. Like, seriously, what's your name?
Dominique.
Dominique. Hi, Dominique. Cool. Now I'm going to do it again. Rewind. Hi, Dominique. I don't know. Eddie Izzard, the hilarious British comedian, makes this great joke about the British voice being how the Brits controlled most of the world for 500 years. Because only in the British voice could you have this conversation. Like, oh, hello there, native person. How are you? Do you like these beads? Do you? Excellent. You take these. I shall take all the land from here to the right. You don't really do that in a British voice. So I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is kind of in my own backyard. It's only a few hours away from me, and I always go because it's a fun con. And this hotel I'd stayed for a couple days after the convention, and there's nothing, those of you that stay behind after a convention has like moved from the hotel, there's fewer things sadder than like a post-con hotel. It's like the circus is gone, you know, and it's like there's now just a field with like a vague smell of elephant dung and flyers. And it's just it's sad, you know, everything's gone back to that horrible place called normal. But it's interesting. I like to kind of go around sometimes, take pictures of like the post-con devastation, and see like, you know, business people walking around. What the hell happened here? You know, it's fun. Well, and I was at this con, and the staff had turned over. Like so everyone the hotel staff that had been at the weekend had gone, and now the Monday, Tuesday staff were there, different people, so that no one recognized me from the weekend or cared who I was. And I wasn't done being on. I had been doing the Sebastian voice all weekend for people. It was around about the time that Black Butler came out, the first season. And so I was having so much fun because I discovered the power it had over people that voice. And so I'm like, oh my god, I have to do this again. You, boom, that. I just Englished you. So I walked around and I just decided I would go up to the concierge desk like in the middle of the day and ask like where like if there was a good place to eat within walking distance, you know, something local. And so I'm like, hello there, looked at a name tag. Hello there, Jennifer, how are you? Listen, I don't know if you can help me here, but blah, 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 blah. And I just had this whole conversation, and the look on her face was priceless. Because while I'm rambling, she just kind of goes, she had glasses, and she was like, and before I'm finished, she goes, stop it, you have to stop that. And I sort of play along, I'm like, oh, sorry, are you having difficulty understanding me? I've noticed that's sort of a theme. And she's like, no, what did I just... Deborah, come here. Deborah comes over, she's like, say something. I'm like, hello, Deborah, how are you? And she's like, no, see, if you talk like that to anybody else, and you were my boyfriend, I would kick your ass. So my first thought is, damn it, I'm stuck in this accent for the rest of the time here. Because she's gonna kill me if she knows I'm just playing her. So now I just do that voice every time I go to Tulsa, every time. Because Jennifer still works there, and I'm like, hey, hello, Jennifer, how are you? She's like, I'm watching you today. So yes, I'm not even sure that answers your question, because I forgot the question 10 minutes ago. Thank you. Thank you, Dominique. See? If you do like in a Sunderland accent, thank you, Dominique. Hello.
Okay, so we'd like to describe to us one dream that you had and remember to this day.
One dream, ooh. Like a dream, not like a I want to be, like climb any mountain, or like a weird, or that weird I'm being chased by an octopus in boots dream. Weird I'm naked for a test dream. I think that's a nightmare, not me. I'm like, so much more relaxed. No, so do you mean like dream, like aspiration, or like just
when you get when you sleep.
Okay, so like an honest to God, just like, what was that?
Yup.
So true story, I think my imagination is so weird and wild that I don't remember most of my dreams because I don't think my unconscious can compete with my conscious mind. So it just goes, you know what, you got this, it's fine, I'm just gonna rest. So I have some dreams every now and again, and when I do, they tend to be super boring, like super boring. I feel like they're almost like, I think Freud suggested at some point, I don't know, you're not gonna look it up. I'm not. That like dreams are supposed to be like your brain kind of just dealing with all the information you've had and just kind of cycling through it and kind of like a best of episode of like, here's what happened today, and that's why you suddenly have a dream about Donald Trump dressed as your grandmother giving you like your driver's test. You know, I don't know, because it's your brain going, we got to cycle all this through, just shove it together, boom. But my dreams by comparison are super boring because what I come up with on my own is so much weirder that my brain goes, you're just gonna have a dream about having a normal day. So I did once have a dream about me binge watching Breaking Bad. I did, I had a dream about it, and I woke up feeling cheated going, I just did that. Like I actually did that. And like my brain's like, yeah, we enjoyed it, we wanted to revisit it. I used to have a recurring dream when I was a kid, so I've played piano since I was very young too, and I used to have this recurring dream, woo, yeah, piano. And some people are like, yeah! Other people are like, yeah, there's two of us. It's all right. There's only one piano. So. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I used to have this dream that I was playing the piano and the piano was trying to run away from me while I played it. But it was like running away from me in the way that my dog runs away from me when he wants to play. When he's like, I'm gonna run away and I'm gonna come back and be like, and so it wasn't like, no, get away from me. It was like, ah, I'm like, damn it. And I'm like trying to play this really hard, like Rachmaninoff's prelude in C sharp, and I'm like, God, son of a, and it's like, and I'm like just chasing it around the house. And I kept having this dream whenever I was like really nervous about something the day before. It was usually my stress dream. I'm like, if I had a test I hadn't studied for, well, I was gonna have the piano dream. Damn it. But then I learned about lucid dreaming, where like you can try to kind of wake yourself up. And I'm not really a lucid dreamer, but like every now and again I've had the ability to like know, oh, I know this dream. I've been here before. I'm gonna give myself roller skates. And so that happened. I got control of that dream by giving myself roller skates.
Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. That might be the most fun random question I've been given in a long time. Hello.
Hi. I wanted to know, like, how was it working on the non-baka dub?
Non-baka. It's great.
Like as the pheasant.
The pheasant. So Aaron Disby is the dub's director, and Aaron, like my little brother. I mean, like he's everyone's little brother at Funimation, right? And he's also writing the show, the writing adaptation, and he's super funny. And my boyfriend Brandon is in the show too as Samon, Monkey Boy, and we have a lot of dialogue together. And it's really funny because we record on different days because of our schedules, and I'll go home and be like, I just left some bombs for you. Left some bombs for you, babe. When you're going tomorrow, you're gonna hear me saying awful things. And he'll come home and be like, I left bombs for you, babe. I left bombs for you. It's great. The best thing about Namaka is, one, I love playing very flamboyant characters. There's just something in me that just loves that sort of like fabulousness. France, Skiama is another one. The sort of people that when like the paparazzi are like cornering them, they just turn around and be like, no pictures, please, no pictures. I love playing those sorts of characters because I think they're crazy. I love the way I conceive of those characters. Their job in any story is to like come in, devastate the status quo, and then leave like nothing happened. They crop dust, so to speak, in rainbows. So they just come in, rainbows everywhere, and then they go. I love playing those sorts of characters. So like getting to play the pheasant is my favorite, and getting to play opposite like everyone else, Vic again, of course, and being directed by Aaron, and getting to play off my boyfriend is awesome because he's really good. He's really good. Thank you. You look great, by the way. I noticed that. I'm like, yeah.
Hugo.
1950.
Yes. I escaped.
Hello. Hello. You have the same ears as my dog.
Yes!
We have a French bulldog, and his ears are like half of his weight.
So I was wondering if you would be able to say a voice line from some analog from Borderlands.
Do you have one in mind?
Yes, I do. So the line is, apologies, but when Claptrap speaks, I feel my brain cells committing suicide one by one. It's like my favorite one.
Apologies, but when Claptrap speaks, I feel my brain cells committing suicide one by one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. By the way, if anyone knows, if you bring me Borderlands stuff, I will always write the word boner farts on it. Always. Unless you're getting it for your 15-year-old daughter. I had that exchange today. The guy came through, he's like, oh, I'm gonna write boner fart. He's like, it's for my 15-year-old daughter? I'm like, I'll write something else. I'm like, that's right, I have to be careful. Boner farts. Hi.
Hi. Well, today's my birthday, so
Happy birthday.
I was wondering if you could sing.
Oh God, no, I don't sing. Okay, I'll sing if everyone else sings with me. Awesome. I'm gonna be like the guy in church that doesn't know the words. It sounds the same. Like, no, all right. What's your name, first of all?
Irene. Rini.
Rini?
Rini.
Weenie?
Irene.
I'm gonna butcher this. I just want you to know. All right, everyone ready? Happy birthday. All right, on the count of 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Stop.
Happy birthday to you.
Stop.
Happy birthday, dear Rini.
anyone else have a birthday today? Well, congratulations. Mine was 3 months ago. Everyone's like, mine was. I'm like, so thank you. That was for all of you. I'm not singing again. God, please don't. You open that door and everyone's like, sing me this. Sing all of Les Mis. Sing Handel's Messiah now. Hi. Sorry, you didn't deserve that.
I saw you like 4 years ago, almost.
Been a long time.
Yes, it was a very long time
The years
ago.
have been kind.
I was Jackie Frost that year.
Oh, yes.
You hugged me, and I'm like still fangirling over that. I recently had surgery, and I went back to watching Black Butler while I was recovering because I couldn't walk. So your voice actually helped me a lot. So I just wanted to say thank you. Also,
It's the British. It's something about the British voice. If I'd have been like, "Hey, how you doing?" It wouldn't have worked.
Also, I wanted to know if you knew about Undertale. It's a game.
Undertale. I have heard of it. I don't. I'm not much of a gamer, sadly, because I suck.
I'm not either.
Really
However, it's really easy.
Is it really easy? You're like, it's okay. It's easy. It's just
easy.
for you.
Trust me, I die playing my brother's games, and he gets upset with me. So yeah, that was my only question. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being
Thank
there.
you very much. Oh, thank you. And I'm glad you're doing well now. Hi.
Since you voiced the character in Yuri on Ice, what's your opinion on it?
On your, oh, I love Yuri on Ice. Love it. Oh, is it not one of the most, it's one of the, Jesus Christ. I mean, I get it, but Jesus. No, I love it. It's a beautiful, what a beautiful show. I love when the whole relationship thing can be just treated normally and not be like this big deal. It's just kind of, it's just accepted. It's normal for that. And I that was, it's really important to get to be part of that. And Sonny, the director, Sonny Strait, I just made that connection. You super loved being part of it and loved being and just in it. And so all of us, I mean, one, it's just gorgeously animated. The whole, I love figure skating. I love watching. I think that's how I realized I was gay when I was a kid. I just wanted to watch the figure skaters because God, those costumes. That doesn't make someone gay. But some of the other thoughts I was having while watching those skaters did. So the point is, I'm rambling again. Stay on point, Tatum, stay on point. I think Yuri is a wonderful show, and it's a wonderful positive expression of just being who you are and loving. Love is love. Love is love. And I love that we live in a time where, despite many other things, we do live in a time where that's more acceptable. And it's nice to be part of it. Because as a gay man, and I'm a gay man, those of you that didn't know, I'm pretty gay. like super gay. Everyone's like, no. It's really kind of cool. I could not have imagined. I'm old. I'm very old. No, thank you. Yeah, I'm old. Well, okay, I'm 40.
That's okay.
And everyone's like, so what do you do? So I'm old. You know how it feels. But 40 is like the new 60 in gay years, okay? No, but what I'm saying is, I grew up in a very different time. I grew up in the early '90s. That was when I was coming of age, and it was very different then. A show like Yuri on Ice would never have taken off. Would never have gotten fan support. So, and seeing that slowly change to where not only is that show not only does that show exist, it's doing incredibly well and has such wonderful support. And so it makes me feel wonderful because I think, oh my God, I couldn't have imagined living in this world even 20 years ago. I wouldn't have imagined it. I would have thought I would have grown up in a Mad Max hellscape where everyone had to marry 5 women and that was all that was allowed. I was so prepared for that future, and now we're living in a time where we have a long way to go, but the fact that something as beautiful and as just perfect as Yuri on Ice can be a thing makes me feel like, finally we've grown up as a culture. So those of you that watch it, thank you, because that's how I think all of us feel that are involved in this.
Hi. Thanks for coming, first of all.
Thanks for having me.
And second, is it okay if I make a request for you to say something in Sebastian's voice to my best friend for 13 years? She couldn't be here,
You
unfortunately.
want to talk to her for 13 years?
Yeah.
I mean, all right. What would you like me to say? What's her name?
Her name is Annalise Allen.
Say again?
Annalise Allen.
Annalise. Okay.
If
What
you
would
could
like me to
say, if you could say something encouraging.
Something
You've been going-
encouraging. Sebastian, say something encouraging?
It's-
You look so tasty. All right, Annalise, right? You said Annalise? Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Annalise, darling, I want you to know that you're strong and beautiful, and I, one hell of a butler, look up to you. Do you notice how I had to purse my lips? That's the trick. If you want to do like that, that's the trick to doing duck face well, is you say the word prune.
Prune?
Yeah, instead of cheese, you just go prune. Perfect duck face. Perfect.
First of all, hi.
Hi!
Can I make a tiny request? Two things, that's okay.
Two things?
Kind of two
I'll do half of each.
Okay. First of all, can you please say my name in Sebastian's voice?
What's your name?
Sophia.
See, okay, check it out. I'm going to do two of these, okay? Hey, Sophia. All right, now. Hello, Sophia.
Okay. Now the other thing is, how would France be if he was in the host club?
Say again.
How would France be? Like, how would he be as a host? Like, what would he be like if
I
he was
don't
the
think
host
much
club?
would change. Except Tamaki would be out because we only need one crazy Frenchman.
Yeah.
We only need one crazy blonde Frenchman in the host club, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. I feel like there'd be a lot of French spoken and a lot of Harley going, what? That's not okay. I think France would. I don't know. I think France would just sit there.
What would he say? Like, what would he say?
Oh my God! I have to talk to people. Oh. Someone give me some of that awful commoner coffee. Welcome to the host club. Oh, club. He'd be drunk all the time.
Why would he be drunk?
What?
Why would he be drunk?
Because he's France.
I'm French.
Yeah. Are you like actually French? Like
Yes.
from France?
Well, not from French, but from
Do you speak French? No? You don't speak French?
Some of it.
Some of it. You speak some of it. Me too.
Fake.
So
Oh
you're
yeah,
French.
obviously.
Well, then you're like Parisian. If you're Parisian French, you're like already like legal drinking age. At 4.
I know that.
If you're old enough to carry a baguette, you are old enough to buy wine.
Actually, in the age of drinking is actually 15 there.
Yeah. It went up. I love France. I'm a Francophile. I love it.
Thank you. Like, really, thank you.
Thank you, Kiki. Oh my Jesus. There's somewhere a lonely dog just barked. It's adorable voice.
Hey. Oh, right, I remember my question, sorry. You know, in the anime community, I guess, you're pretty well known. So I want to know, has anyone ever recognized you based on your voice? And follow-up question, what was your reaction to that?
You mean like in public?
Yeah.
Like in the real world?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, and not just because of my voice, but because of just my face, which is weird. Voice acting is a very kind of anonymous performance art because your face is usually not part of the equation. It's very different when you're doing games and anime because it's such a dedicated following and we get to go to conventions a lot, which is really seriously one of the best things about what I get to do because I love it. I love getting to see all you people. This is my world. And I love it. My tribe. So because of that, the fans tend to know what you look like too, and it also helps that I wear glasses and as do you. So I'm sure people are like, oh my God, you look like Hetalia. Oh my God, you look like every other character you play who has glasses. And I'm like, well, So it happens. It happens more often than I'm prepared. Not all the time. It's not like I can't walk down the street like, oh my God, look at that. I'm like, it doesn't happen. Like it happens. Sometimes they don't recognize me at a con. Because people are focused. You're trying to get from point A to point B, and if you're not looking for something, you're not going to necessarily see it. But like yesterday, and I apologize if you're actually in here, young lady, but I was actually walking out of the men's room yesterday from here, and someone just goes, "Oh my God, you look just like J. Michael Tatum," and I'm like, "Weird," and I just walked. And I heard her go, like afterwards, I'm like, I just Bill Murray'd someone. Sometimes usually it's someone will be like just make conversation, like it'll be like a waiter or a flight attendant or someone just like makes conversation with you, someone that you're talking to anyway, and goes, oh, like, what do you do? And I'm a voice actor, and they ask you, what have you been in? And you kind of go through a bunch of stuff, and they go, no, I don't know that. And you're thinking, yeah, I've lost them. They don't know anything I've done. And then you mention that one thing. Well, at Full Metal Alchemist, they go, oh my God, I love that show. What are you? No one. I was just wondering if you knew that show. So there's always like the one show that they all know, and they say, oh my God, and so yeah. My favorite experience because of just how it unfolded. I was getting my hair cut. This was years ago. One Piece was airing at the time, and I play Inaru in the Skypiea arc, which is one of my first like really fun, like big villain roles. Right? It was kind of early days for me as an actor, as a voice actor. So I'm sitting at like a Supercuts, you know, and it's like there's a bunch of people there, and there's just one little kid who's like getting maybe he might be 10, who's getting his hair cut, and his dad is sitting next to him getting his hair cut, and I'm just sitting there getting my hair cut, and it's like middle of the day, so you know my stylist is like, oh, so what do? You got the day off? I'm like, oh no, I have weird hours. I'm a voice actor, blah blah blah. And she's like, oh, what do? You know, trying to make conversation. And I kind of go through, well, I do this, I've done this, do you know this? And she's like, no, I don't know any of it. And I'm like, well, right now there's a show called One Piece that's kind of popular that's on airing on Cartoon Network right now. She said, yeah, that's really cool. No, I haven't. See, my kids would probably know that. Well, this little kid over here, we're going to call him Matthew. His ears, boom, and he's like, did you say you work for Funimation? Did you, One Piece? And I'm like, crap. You know, just part of you just wants to go, part of you so badly wants to go, yes. You can't do, I usually go, yeah. Sure, yeah, I'm in One Piece. He's like, what do you play? What do you play? Oh my God, I love Chris Abbott, and I love Brina Palencia, and I love Eric Vale, and everybody. And I'm like, well, I play Inaru, and he just goes, oh my God! Freaks out. Like the girl cutting his hair has to back up, so to like not accidentally stab him with the scissors. And he's like, and he turns, and his dad is like, Matthew, what the hell is going on over there? He's like, Dad, this is J. Michael Tatum, the guy that's in all this. He's in all those shows I love that you hate. And I'm just like, hey, Dad. And he's like, okay, great. Good for you. And he left, and I was like, well, I thought that went rather well. I've had people like buy me drinks before, where I'll be like, oh, this drink's coming from the young person over there, and I'd be like, oh, hi, thank you, and they're like, and I'm like, cheers. Oh God, you know. So it happens not terribly often, but enough more than I love when it happens when I'm with my family, because my family, they just know me as Michael and the jackass, that like the youngest of my family, the kind of black sheep, and we're all like, you know, we're a big ball busting family, so we all love each other. But I was like, oh hey, yeah, nice shirt, you know, all very. It's especially my brother's family because Boston. And we all get together for like an event. We took my mother out for her birthday a couple of years ago. And we do every year, but I'm saying this happened a couple of years ago. Hey mom, you had a birthday. That's about that time. It's been 6 years. Let's take you out. So we took her out, and this girl, and I'm sitting next to my sister-in-law, who is super classy and super just also just loves to bust my balls. And then my mother's over here, and Brandon's right here, my partner. And there's a whole table full of us. There's about 18 of us, and it's a big family. And my sister-in-law is like, I'm talking to Brandon, and suddenly I get this tap on my shoulder. And I turn, and my sister-in-law's looking at me, and she's like, and there's this little girl. It's probably 14 or so, just like doing the universal, oh my God, Mr. Tatum face. Even like not quite here, but like. And I'm like, and I know how to do this. So I'm like, hi, sweetie, how are you? You know, like, and this is literally me going, yeah, screw you, what you talking about? Hi, sweetie, how are you? It's a family fan. And so, like, suddenly my family just all shuts up. Like, something is happening. What's going on with Mikey and this girl? And she's like, can I get a picture with him? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. So we get like a couple of pictures. And she's like, thank you. Into the night. And then there's this veil of silence again, everyone looking at me. And then my sister-in-law just goes, why does she care about who you are? What the? Oh, get her back. I want to buy her dinner. Hey. And I'm like, no, please. But she was already gone. So that kind of stuff happens enough. And I'm like, please don't approach me with my family. It's so awkward because my family's like, ha! They love you, you dumbass.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I said as I was in line, yesterday was my birthday. I wasn't going to ask you to sing. I wanted you to wish me a happy birthday as Isaac from Bacano.
What's your name?
Leela?
Leela. That's a good name.
Thank you.
Leela, happy birthday. I'm pretty sure you're going to be 1 year older soon.
Thank you.
You have those every year, right?
Right?
Weird.
Right? So weird. And it's now 2017. Like, imagine.
Wow. 80 years ago. I want to thank you for just rolling out of bed to get here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
You look amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I'm a. You might recognize the series I'm from.
I do. I'd ask you to do this, but it looks like you got a lot going on. Oh, you did it. Yes, thank you.
I just
You're
can't
gonna have a hell of a time
remember.
fighting titans in that, but whatever.
Yeah. So my question is, what was it like? So from season 1, when Angela was whipping Sebastian.
Oh, Lord.
What was it like filming that scene? And do you think Sebastian secretly enjoyed it?
I love how you describe. I'm sure in your mind that I'm actually in the booth with my pants down, getting whipped. I promise you, whatever Ian Sinclair has told you, that's not how it went down. So getting whipped, I think Sebastian enjoyed it, but not for the reasons that you. Not for the reasons that you may think. I think Sebastian, like in my head, all I can think of Sebastian, like every time you're getting whipped, going, sorry, could you ask, is your grandmother working me over right now? Is that what's going on? I'm sorry. Oh, that tickles. I get to see him in his mind just going, oh, that's adorable. You think this hurts? Because Sebastian's a demon. He's like from hell. Like whipping, it's like level 1. What do you take me for? A trash mob? I think he enjoyed it because he's just like going, you just keep thinking you got the upper hand, sweetheart. Which is, I think, Sebastian's default mode. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes, and one request, could you say hello, Josephine, in Sebastian voice?
Hello, Josephine?
Yes.
Okay. I want to do this again. Hello, Josephine. And now Sebastian. Hello, Josephine.
Oh, thank you so much.
Every time. Every time. I'll never get sick of it. Oh, well, we're done. All right.
We've got 10 minutes.
What?
It ends at 1:30. It's 1:19 now.
Oh, so we got 10 minutes. Do we have any other questions? I can't believe we got through a whole line. I'll just do this. I'll just do randoms. Okay, so I'm gonna do like the next 10 minutes of like a lightning round. So y'all can just stay seated. I'll get to you. I'll get you real quick. No, you can hang out there. And then I'll answer your question, and then I'll just kind of pick on some random people in the audience. Okay, so go for it.
This was asked the other day to Vic, but with all like the voice acting and every all your personal life and the fans and the cons, how do you like manage all the stress and all the craziness, and how do you like stay sane throughout it all?
Oh, I think sanity is overrated. First of all, it doesn't help me professionally at all. I don't find it very stressful, to be honest with you. I mean, the most stressful thing about all of this is the scheduling. It's just making sure that you're where you're supposed to be and going whatever. And it's like with anything, once you've done it for a period of time, it just becomes a habit. So I think the first few years of doing the writing and the acting, and I directed for a time as well, and doing cons, that was difficult to manage because there was just so much, so many places to go, and it really overwhelmed me because I was used to I had a 9-to-5 job for years, and so I was like, oh, I just show up to one place, do my thing, and then I go home, and that's it, and then you just leave it at the door. So this is very different, but it's much more fulfilling work because it's creative, and I consider myself a creative soul, so even when it's stressful, and the thing about acting that I found, to get back into all that mess, is even when you're stressed, the thing about acting is, man, it works with anything. Like, you can use anything that's thrown at you, however you're feeling, you can use. It's all grist for the mill. So if I'm feeling stressed, I'm like, perfect, more ingredients for the broth. So I just learned to use it. Like, it's not being stressed, and also like we all kind of feel this way. So we are our own support group. Like, other actors get it. So if they go, oh, can you do dinner tomorrow night? You're like, no, I can't. I have to be like 8 places in life. So they're like, I understand. So I don't, and I also have Brandon, who is a wonderful person. Wonderful. Like he is like my doctor. Doctor Who, not like just my doctor. But yeah, so that's how I handle it.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, sweetheart. All right, let's see. I'll point to some random people. You, darlings, there.
Can you please say my name is Sebastian?
What's your name?
My name's Jasmine.
Jasmine. Hello, Jasmine. Yes, you darling. Happy birthday, darling. You're turning 19. Everyone say happy birthday. Congratulations. You darling.
Okay, my friend is a huge Black Butler fan. Can you please say her name?
Okay, this is the last one. I'm not saying any more names in Sebastian today. Wait, what's her name?
Emily.
Emily. Hello, Emily.
No.
Oh, back to one. Okay. Got it? Ready? I'm so embarrassed for us. Hello, Emily. All right, you, yes, you, just point at yourself. Where was all this love 20 years ago? You, Doug.
Are you and Vic like really friends or enemies? Because the way you two talk about each other.
Wait, say again, I didn't hear you.
You and Vic.
Vic and I?
Are you and Vic like friends or enemies or friends?
We're not enemies, we're friends. Vic and I are friends. Like, we're all friends in this business. I mean, like, we don't. The thing is, we like to bust each other's balls because we all do that. We pick on each other all the time. But no, I love Vic. Vic's a wonderful person. He's also been very supportive of me ever since when I first became an actor. First worked at Hetalia, by the way, in Oran High School Host Club, was my first like huge fan role. Where that was the one where like everyone's like, you have no idea what this is going to do to you. I'm like, what do you mean? It's just another role. That'd be great. And then suddenly they were like, look, Hetalia, we love him. And out of nowhere, it was like huge love. Vic was kind of instrumental in helping me navigate that because it was very new territory for me. And he was very supportive, and he was like, God, you were so good at this. Thank you. So I loved it.
And one more thing.
One more thing.
Can you say a line in Kieria's voice?
I've been doing it for like the past hour. Hi there, welcome to the host club. Will this be cash, check, or charge? You with the bunny on your head. You with the camera on the stick. Yes.
That was amazing. How are you doing?
My thoughts on the 12th Doctor? It's good. I like him. It's fine. I love that he's getting older. It means maybe I'll get to play him one day. You, Junko. Brandon and I, my partner, met. He speaks Japanese fluently. He actually lived for a couple of years on and off, and he translates frequently, interprets rather, for bands or for like the composer for Final Fantasy, Nobuo Uematsu. He's his preferred composer.
Oh my God.
Translator when he comes over to the States. We met together at a convention in Kansas City, Missouri, and we were like, oh, how you doing? How you doing? And we turned out we both lived in Texas. We're like, oh, well, let's change numbers. And it was one of those things where we were just friends for the longest time, and then he moved away to Japan for work, and we just kept in touch. And while he was in Japan, we were like, I miss you too. No, like, I really miss you. Well, I really miss you. I really miss you. I'll tell this, actually, this is a good way to end the panel. I'm going to tell this cute little, really gay story. And when I say gay, I mean it's a really gay story. So Brandon and I met like about 7 years ago, and we've been together as a couple now for a little over 3 years. And so we were friends for a long time, and when he moved to Japan, it was a really rough time for him because moving into a foreign country, to work, it can be really rough. He had a great experience, but, he didn't have a lot of time to go out and meet friends, and so he felt very lonely. And we would talk a lot, or I would kind of stalk him on Facebook and leave little messages and stuff. And I thought, wouldn't that be great if I taught myself Japanese? So I would try to leave little kanji notes on his Facebook page, and I can speak just enough Japanese to like find a bathroom in Tokyo, or to say hello. I don't speak Japanese, and that's it. But Brandon's very, very fluent, so he knows when I've got something terribly, terribly wrong. And the reason, like, we'd known each other for years, and there were feelings there, but we denied them. We're like, no, we can't possibly, stupid. And so while he was there, he had taken this beautiful, lonely little picture of the first sakura blossom outside of his window. And there was something about the picture that I'm like, oh, he's so alone. There's no one over there. He's married to the corporation. He's got nothing. Oh, God, come home, Brandon, come home. And I just thought, well, you know what, I'm going to write something really fun and clever. You know, just kind of, hey, you still, you know, whatever. And I wrote what I thought, because I ran it through Google Translate. What I thought I was saying was I said something in English like, oh, that's beautiful. I can't wait to come to Japan sometime and you can show me the sights or whatever. And then I put a PS in kanji. What I thought I was saying was, by the way, you know, I miss you. Or by the way, you are missed. And what I actually said was, and now I let you go. Damn you, Japanese! Which freaked him out. He was like, what the hell? Because he was also, I think he was sick at the time. He got this horrible case of the flu. And work was going horribly bad. And he hated, there was all sort of drama going on in his personal life in Japan. He was at the lowest point of his time there. And suddenly I'm like, hey, I love the sakura blossom, and now goodbye. And he just goes, what do you mean? And it started this whole conversation. We're like, no, that's not what I meant. But because of that little slip up, thank you, Google Translate, because it made us go, why do you care so much? I just thought that, there are feelings here. And so that's what. And then a quick tap of that, 2 years later, we were at a con together as a couple. And because he speaks Japanese so profoundly, he will go in and start conversations with the Japanese guests. Now, those of you who have seen Japanese guests at a con, they tend to be very reserved. You know, one, they don't speak English sometimes, and the Japanese people tend to be, rather respectful of space. They won't come up to you like an American, like, hey, how's it going? They'll wait to be spoken to. And they have a team of interpreters, but the interpreter's job is to be available for conversation, not to start one for them. So they just kind of keep to themselves in the green room where all the actors are, while all the Americans are over there going, blah, 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 being American. And the Japanese are kind of over to themselves, kind of looking at us and wishing they were asleep. And because they're probably terribly jet lagged. Well, Brandon will come over and be like, what's that, whatever, and they just light up because here's an American that speaks their language beautifully, and so they start talking. And eventually he points to me, he's like, baby, come over. There's several people, the voice actor for Vegeta, and it was the Hetalia's creator was the guy that made Laura Spice and Wolf. All these really serious Japanese guests were there, and I just went over there and I'm like, hi. And I had just learned earlier in the day that there was a super, super cool, hip bro way of saying thank you. Now, normally in Japanese, you would say it very formally. To someone you just met, if you said thank you, you would say arigato gozaimasu. Arigato gozaimasu. You hear it all the time in anime. It's a very formal way to say thank you to someone who's older or who's a boss or who's just different social level than you. You would never just say arigato unless you were equals, right? Well, there's a more familiar way of saying it, which you just take the first and last sound of arigato gozaimasu, gut everything, and just slap those two things together so that arigato gozaimasu becomes azas. Super neat sounding, right? So that was my thing. All weekend I'd be like, azas, azas, azas. I go over to the Japanese guest who Brandon's been talking up now for the better part of half an hour. And he's like, baby, use your Japanese. And so I say in my best, most formal, polite Japanese that I can muster, which means I have a little bit of Japanese, but I'm not very good at it yet. It's a very formal way of being like, I'm sorry for being American, be patient with me. And one of them turned to me and in very good English said, wow, you sound really good. And I'm like, how's us? Which then they all just kind of went, and Brandon just goes. And it was explained to me later that doing that is, because we don't really have an equivalent in English, the equivalent would be like, it means nothing. The equivalent, in formality versus super familiar and the same, would be like saying, now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds which lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried bitches! But, building bridges everywhere I go for the rest of the weekend, every time I saw one of the Japanese guests, they'd be like, hey, Michael! Thank you guys so much for coming, you're awesome. I love you. There's a photo up today. I think it's at 4 or 5, I don't know. It's at 5. It's at 5 o'clock, so if you want to get a picture with me, show up to the photo op. And VIPs, I do have a VIP autograph signing in just a little while. So thank you, you're awesome, I love you.
If you brought any